Welcome to the Honest Hour. I'm your host, Luis Acevedo, and we have a few things to talk about today. Not a whole lot, but just an update. So, first off, as you can see, we're going live on MOT today as opposed to MOT News because we cannot go live on MOT News until the 30th because I said some offensive things. Biden has done nothing right. Study shows tax cuts benefit. We'll get to that user. We'll get to it. So, we're going to be switching things up a lot. So MOT today is where we're going to be doing the live streams for the Honest Hour for some time. So be on the lookout for that. That'll still be 1 o'clock every day until the start of next week. So starting next Tuesday, it'll be in the evenings. Had to get a job. I know it sounds kind of lame, right? Like I had to get a job, but my business is not making enough to take over everything as far as bills go. I make a decent amount for my business, but it's not what we need in order to live. So I had to get supplemental income to balance that out. But yeah, so got to switch up the schedule a little bit. That's what's going on. So bear with us as we change up some things. Be sure to follow all the MOT stuff. But let's jump into this. Right now, we got a lot of people saying Joe Biden did nothing right. Joe Biden can't do anything right. Joe Biden this, Joe Biden that. First off, let me tell you guys, I'm not a fan of Joe Biden. I did not vote for him. I did not vote for, shake my head, stop it with your background. Biden does nothing right. I'll get to that in a second. So I'm not a fan of Joe. I did not vote for Joe. I did not vote for Trump. Definitely not Democrat. I'm very, very far right. But there is one thing that Joe Biden is doing. You just said that you can't afford to live on just one job. No, what I said was I can't afford to live on my small business that I had recently started a few months ago, which is making sizable income. It's not little. It's a decent amount. If I was one man living on my own, I'd be able to live off of my business 100%. But I have 3 children and a wife to care for. So I need something to bring in more money. Anyway, this is the thing with Joe Biden. This is what I like about Joe Biden. Student debt forgiveness. I am all for student debt forgiveness. As a matter of fact, I'm all for debt forgiveness. I want my own country. LOL, who wants to join, right? All right. So the way that this is working is people making under $125,000 a year will be able to receive a $10,000 credit loan, whatever, to the debt that they have. If you have a Pell Grant, which is a federal grant, you will get $20,000. I personally think all student debt, who pays for it? Who pays for the student debt? Who pays for the student debt? So the children are brainwashed to go to college to begin with. Their parents are brainwashed, telling them to go to college. The ROI in college is ridiculous. It does you nothing. Where does money come from? The sky? It literally does. User 830, they literally print the money. They literally print the money. So, you're being brainwashed by so many people. Hey, go to college. The ROI is great. The ROI is trash. The ROI is trash on college. And yet they're still going there and they're having to pay immense amounts of interest. And they cannot file bankruptcy. They can't file bankruptcy on their student loans, but they can file bankruptcy for their mortgage that they couldn't afford. They can file bankruptcy for the car they couldn't afford. They can file bankruptcy for the boat that they got. The ROI is right in the right field. No, it's not. I have a higher net worth than a doctor. That's a fact. Most doctors who are in student loan debt have hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loan debt, while they may be making, let's say the doctor makes $100,000, $200,000, but they have $400,000 in student loan debt. Their net worth is literally negative $200,000. Literally. I have no debt. All the money I make goes towards my net worth and paying bills. I have a higher net worth. Anybody who has debt, anybody who has no debt, a good paying job or a good paying business has a higher net worth than a lot of individuals who have debt and went to school. So what's the ROI on a doctor? You get $200,000, $300,000 a year, depending on what field you go into. You're being brainwashed a lot. I mean, our medical field has been totally taken over and corrupted for years. And no, I don't live in my parents' basement. You're stupid. I have my own place. I have my own car. I have my own family. You took the loan, assumed the responsibility, and pay for it. No, they're predatory loans. They're predatory loans is what they are. How are colleges going to reimburse $10K loss per graduate? Are you insane? These colleges have endowments of like billions of dollars. I personally think the government should make the universities pay using their endowments. Harvard has billions of dollars in endowments. Do you know what endowments are? They're basically the money they're receiving from the graduates, from the alumni. Yes, I know not all universities. Tax needs to be abolished, period. I don't know about that. Look at the Republican pundit who got loan forgiveness preaching that everyone needs to take. I mean, yeah, you can say I got loan forgiveness in the fact that my parents got a divorce and then my mom paid the rest of my student loan off with the money that she got from the divorce. You could say that. My wife is very fortunate. Her parents were able to pay for her college. But I don't know why people look at that as if that's something bad. We have no debt still and a very high net worth for 26 and 27-year-olds. We have a higher net worth. We are like in the 1% of freaking 26 and 27-year-olds, and that's still not a lot of money. You really think the colleges are just not going to be reimbursed for the loss? What loss? What loss? The ones who's making the most money off of it is the government. The government provides most of the student loans, which is why universities and colleges started going up in the first place. Which is why colleges went up in the first place. Why do libtards all want Hantar? No, not. 26 with 3 kids explains a lot. I'm a crusher, I know. I'm a beast. I got 3 children. I got a beautiful wife. I got my own car. I got 2 cars. I got my own place to live. Like, what do you mean? I pay all my own bills. The only thing that I've received from my mother as help is after my parents got a divorce, which shattered the family. That's the only good thing that came out of it. Literally. My dad cheated on my mom. Now my dad started another family. And my mom sacrificed the chunk of change that she got from the divorce and put it towards paying off my student loans because she wanted me to be on the right foot. Although the entire time, mind you, the entire time, my wife and I were using every single tax return. Every single tax return we received, and we gave it right to our loans, to the student loan. Everyone, every extra bit of money we made, right to the loans. So we would have paid off our student loan debt by this time already. Mine, that is. On our own. So, you know, this is the thing. And then we're also doing very well financially because of our own hard work. I don't ask my parents for anything. She doesn't ask her parents for anything. We literally do not ask for assistance. My mom gave that to me as a gift. I did not ask her to pay my loans. She literally said, I want to do this for you. When that's the money that she received through a divorce. Anyway, but so many children, not children, because they're not children, so many adults would be much better off had they not the burden of the student loan debt wrapped around their neck like a freaking anchor dragging them down. So your dad paid off your loans. Essentially, I mean, you could say that, but it was through a divorce. I would have never seen that money. I would have never gotten the money had it not been for a divorce. And my parents were very loving. The divorce wasn't easy for anybody in the family. It was actually very hard. And now my dad has started another family. So don't take on loans you don't want to pay back. Yeah, I don't think that anybody should take out loans. I think that debt is very bad. I was brainwashed into going into college. I did. What about people responsible pay their student loans back? Good for them, Dave. They're great. They were able to pay it off. So what? They choose loans for low-paying jobs. Trump's tax cuts. LOL. This is a joke live. Obviously, Biden didn't do anything right. Tax cuts help. So, yeah, I think that if you were to cut all student loan debt, I don't want a handout. I don't need a handout. I make my own money. I live my own life. I don't ask anybody for anything. So now all these people that pay back their loans have to pay off other people's loans too. CL, you obviously don't know how it works because most of the student loans that are given are federal loans using your federal tax dollars to pay for kids to go to university and pay for them to go into debt. And then they have to pay interest on your tax money. So the people who were tricked into going to college and paying for this ridiculous degree. Exactly. So I have to pay the interest. CL, stop being dumb. Literally, the taxes are making the government money, bro. Your taxes have interest that is making the government money. You're probably the same person that'll argue taxation is theft and that the government does nothing good with your money. Assuming. But now the government takes your money to send kids to school. Oh, I see. So we're not in trillion. Nobody said that we're not in $1 trillion of debt. But the government's making money off of the money that they take from you in the form of taxes and then giving it to children, to young adults to go to school and be brainwashed. The more money the government has, the less the citizens have. That's not necessarily true. You said we were making the government money. You are via interest. And so the taxes that you're giving them are paying for the student loans. Literally. You are paying young adults to go to university in the form of loans. That is not why they're in $1 trillion of debt. They are in $1 trillion of debt for numerous reasons, starting wars around the world, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Those things are a lot of the reasons why the country's in incredible debt. Welfare, food stamps. I'm against welfare. I'm against food stamps. I'm against Social Security. I'm not a fan of Medicare or Medicaid. But what I do think would be right is forgiving the debts. For any Christian in here who's against me, maybe pick up your own Bible because Jesus all teaches us a prayer that he says to God. He's like, Father, forgive, our debts as we forgive those that are, our debtors, as we forgive our debtors. Have you ever lived 10 miles out of your own city? Yeah, I've moved across. I live in a totally different state. And in the Bible, it also says you should forgive your debts. That's part of the rules. A jubilee. A jubilee. So I believe in jubilees. I think that people should have, I think that mortgages are predatory loans, 30-year loans, insane. Insane. 15-year loan. And the interest off of them is ridiculous. I think that debt should be forgiven across the board after X amount of time. And if you've shown that you've made payments on it. You're right. Just a way of what? Keeping us down. Yeah, I think that usury should be illegal. Jubilee happens every 7 years, loan forgiven. Exactly. So if it's a jubilee, every 7 years, forgive the loan.
Yo, what's up, guys?
How's it going?
How are you? I'm pretty good.
Good.
Your debate, Joe Biden did something right. I'm not sure about that. Trump tax cut hurt us. Well, probably. I don't live in the past. In the past was much better than that we are now.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I totally do. Like I was a history major. I totally get it. I think that we were more moral. I think that there was a higher standard of living as far as culturally better community. But I'm referring to more so getting caught up in traumatic memories, living in moments of nostalgia, not focusing on the here and now. That's more so what I'm talking about. Not
Yeah, I know what you're meaning. By the way, my name is Daniel. What is yours?
Luis.
Luis, nice to meet you. I'm sorry I can't put on my camera because I don't have followers enough. Sorry for that.
It's all good.
I wanted. What?
I said it's all good.
What's interesting for me is now in 21st century, I go to gym, I have family, I have daughter, and my daughter, I have never been in TikTok. I don't even know what TikTok is. I started TikTok because of my daughter. She opened the phone, she came to me, and she said, "Dad, what is LGBT?" And I was like, "What?" 6 years old girl.
Yeah. I know. We can't talk about that too much on here, though. It's going to get me banned. I'm with you, though. I think it's disgusting.
As an old, I'm not old. I'm 35. I don't understand that new generation people. What we as parents, as children, did wrong.
Well, I think that there's a lot. There's a lot. I mean, we can start off. Especially, I can speak about the West. I can't speak where you're from, but particularly in the United States, our diets are trash. Our food is trash. The acceptance of deviant behaviors over time, garbage. The parents having to work two jobs. The illusion that the parents have to work two jobs to have a happy family. Nonsense. The demonization of men and then women becoming more masculine because of that and men becoming more feminine because of that. That's a huge issue. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things. Moving away from your family. Yeah, there's a lot.
Men should man up, women should woman up. There is no third identify. I have listened to this. I have been in many lives, and I heard I identify as. I identify as Chevrolet Corvette.
Right.
About that.
So I want to stay on topic though. Do you have anything else that you want to add to the topic, or any of the topics?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I respect you. I have seen many lives of you. This is the first one I came. I will probably come to chat sometimes in front. Sorry for my English. I'm living in America. I'm from Lithuania.
Right on. I think we've spoke before on my other one.
Oh, maybe we probably did.
Yeah.
I just want to say, America was always the dreamland. I don't know what happened now. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot, man. But thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, brother. No problem.
All right. So, we can talk about Trump a little bit, but we're going to let the other guest in, and then we'll go from there. Yeah. So, one of the reasons the tax cut hurt us really quick is because the other day I was just doing some rough math on what taxes would look like for me, and apparently the spouse exemption and the personal exemption were removed under Trump's presidency. So now you can no longer exempt yourself or your spouse from taxes, which is pretty bad, I think. That means that Trump allowed for the middle class to have more taxable income. However, I will say that the tax cut did benefit my wife and I briefly, but that was literally Trump. But literally, we did benefit from it at the time. But now, as parents, and we're trying to, and I've learned more about the tax code, I realized that it hurt us too in some ways. So that's all. I'm not saying it's all bad. There was a lot of benefits to it. Don't get me wrong, but it definitely hurt in some ways. Anyway, what's going on, Joe Bars?
How's it going, man? Everything good with you?
Yeah.
All right. So I kind of got in a little late towards our conversation, so I picked up a little bit of what y'all was talking about. I mean, I'm not talking about that other stuff because that should definitely ban.
Right.
So I don't want to talk about that. But for the most part, I don't know, man. I feel like we keep looking at the presidents as if they're expendable. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, we're like, yo, did Biden do this, or did Trump do this, or did Obama or Bush and stuff like. To be honest, if you ask me, it always looks like the last president was better than the next president. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like right now, like Bush, like when Bush was in office and all that shit happened, everybody hated Bush, right? People was hating Bush, and then when shit got bad, like right now, I'm looking at it like, shit, that wasn't that bad. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, Bush wasn't as bad as people would think compared to what it is now. But at the same time, it's just like, it's perspective too. It's like these are the people that literally don't stay no more than 8 years in their position. And then after that, they have to be like, you know what I'm saying? They have to get followed. They can't have no power. They can't do anything. So it's like, why are we focusing on these people that are expendable instead of the people that literally have those jobs until they die? That's the real government. If you really look at it, like, the government is the buildings, and then the people who sit in the buildings become the workers of the government. So if the government is the building, then the people who's always staying in the building, no matter what, they're always gonna be in the government. They're always going to have control over the government. They're always going to push things toward their way. They're always going to make sure laws go their way. They're always going to manipulate people.
Yeah. I totally get where you're coming from, man. I'm all for presidents for life, though. I think that a president should be in there for life. I think that politicians should have longer terms, and I think that they should get paid more.
You know, I think that's a good debate. If presidents were there for actually life, or until like they physically couldn't do it anymore,
Mm-hmm.
I think you would have to like shorten or like reduce the limit, like the age limit, like you know how they say you have to be X amount, like you have to be like 40 something to run for president. You have to probably like drop that down to like 30 or 20 something.
Well, it's already 35.
You said right now it's 35?
Yeah, I believe so.
So, all right, imagine if it was 10 years earlier, then somebody could be president from 25 until they die.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have had, not us personally, but in history there have been child kings and emperors. So potentially, you could have somebody really young, but I don't think the goal should be to lower the age requirement necessarily. Um, you want somebody with some life experience. I'm 26 years old, and I've learned a lot in life in my 26 years, but I can tell you I'm going to be a lot wiser and smarter by the time I turn 35.
You're right about that. But then also look at it like this, then. You're going to be smarter and wiser through experience and stuff, right? But what are you experiencing if you're not in that playing field? You're not experiencing how to run a country. You're experiencing regular everyday life shit. Like think about it. These old people that get in that are in office and that get into office, they live like when they like their main life, like when they were like outside and socially active and stuff like that, was in a different time. Like or when people accepted different things and didn't like different things, and people were more outspoken about certain things, and they have a whole certain mentality that we can't change because that's a tree that can't be molded. That's a tree that can't be moved around. It's already grown. It's stuck in its form. A person of youth could actually like you know how you just said they had young emperors, stuff like that. Like that's more of an understanding because it's like, all right, that kid can learn and grow. Clearly, like people are gonna be behind that person. But if it's a 3-system government like how we got, like you got the judicial, then you got the House and Congress and shit, and you got the president, then it would make more sense to have somebody grow up as a president. Like I feel like it should be more somebody grows into that position and learns more and more, and they'll be respected more. Because it's like, yo, you know they're not going nowhere. They are America. That's America right there. Your job is expendable. His job is not. He can do this and that. Granted, they have to be certain.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think he got cut out. Oh, we lost him. It's all right. So we got a couple other people that want to come in. We're going to let them in. I only do one at a time. It keeps everything much more organized. What's going on?
What's up, buddy?
How are you?
I'm cool. I'm from Detroit.
Right on.
Relaxing over here. How are you? How's your day?
It's going all right, man. So what do you want to talk about? Any of these topics here?
I see your topics. Believe it or not, I have an opinion of or what I think is Joe Biden is just a fall guy for everything that happened post-COVID. Now, the $2.2 trillion, it has a lot to say about why we have so much inflation right now. It's because we literally bailed out Wall Street in the beginning of the beginning of COVID with our money. They basically robbed the U.S. Treasury. Our money was robbed and given all to Wall Street as kind of welfare. So, you know, the airline industry, which had 10 years of profit of $100 million. Now, remember, before COVID, everyone was flying.
Let's stop saying that word. Let's call it the C word. I'm going to get banned off of YouTube for talking about it in any negative light.
The C word showed up, and all these airline industries all filed for bankruptcy. And they all got bailed out. All these corporations kept getting bailed out. You know, the PPP loans were all coming from us. People forget that we were giving this money out. Why do you think we have inflation right now? And why do you think Trump waited until after the election to withdraw the troops from Afghanistan? And there's a lot of stuff that's going on that's kind of like it's getting too big. You know, the Ukraine-Russia thing happened, you know, after he left. Even though it was happening before he was there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that I'm not agreeing with, but it's not coming up right. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I mean, we could have a whole conversation about that, but I'm trying to stay on topic here. You know, one of those talking points that I have up there is what I'd prefer to talk about. I mean, we can talk about whether or not we have inflation.
I'm with you on the tax. The tax cut did hurt us, and Joe Biden, he did like withdraw the troops out of Afghanistan. We were there for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I've gotten into discussions with my friends and stuff saying we shouldn't have left the equipment there. I'm like, well, what are we going to do with all this equipment here? We build stuff here every day. And it's not free to ship all this stuff back. You can't just put it on a FedEx box and send it back to America.
Right. Yeah, and you're right, John James. No, I didn't vote for Joe Biden at all. I didn't vote for Trump. You are also... Yeah, and I mean, you're right as well. That's the other good thing that Joe Biden did was pull out of Afghanistan. We don't need to be in there. We don't need any more forever wars. The neocons are upset at the fact that we pulled out. And guess what? I think the Taliban has every right to take over the country. They have more say than the United States government does in their own country. Exactly, it's their country.
And he got the infrastructure, the $1 trillion infrastructure bill. And was it today? He got $10,000 written off of student loan.
I think that's the. I don't agree with the infrastructure bill. I think that that's going to be used in some nefarious way under climate change. But I do agree with the student loan debt.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But I do agree with you on the Afghanistan thing. And he said that he left all our equipment there. I'm like, do you care about equipment or do you care about lives? Because when we left Iraq, we did the same thing. All our stuff is still in Iraq. All of our stuff is still in France from the World War I, and Germany and Japan. All our stuff is still there. You can still see some of our equipment still there. You're not shipping the stuff back. Because over here, I live in Detroit. We make tanks over here every single day. You bring back this old equipment. What are you going to do with all this new equipment? You see what I'm saying? It's pointless. That's all I can say about it. And thanks for bringing me on, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. So I think we had somebody else in there. We have two other people. So we're doing one at a time. What's going on?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
For whatever reason, I can't hear you on my end. I don't know what in the world happened.
Can you hear me now?
Try to come back in.
All right. All right. So I'll give him a second. If he doesn't hop right back in, then the next person in line will be next. So we'll go through some of the comments here. Writing off student loans for grown people that are bad with money while our kids are starving. You could argue, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can argue there, but you're assuming they're bad with money. And you're then implying that the government should pay for all the starving kids when they do offer that in the form of food stamps, if they can receive them through their parents. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Awesome.
So, how's it going?
It's going all right. Yourself?
Oh, it's going good.
Good.
So, my name's Tim Whitney out of Oregon. I'm actually representing myself as a candidate for 2024.
Right on.
Independent. Unfortunately, I think both of our political parties, this is just a show back and forth just to control the masses and literally just to line their pockets.
Yeah, I think
Look at everything they've done over the last 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
We're in such a technical age. There's so many ways to pocket money in our city, county, and state with cash. Now, I am actually more for digital currency, but more for the trackability of things, but not to track people, to track the states and the cities.
Yes.
The actual government. Now, I realize that the people have a lot of opposition against it because they're afraid that they're going to take away everything. And unfortunately, that is an obvious concern.
Mm-hmm.
I think we do need to do basically like a two-part system where there is still a cash system and crypto to where people, until we can get all the bugs worked out. The other thing is look at all our previous parties that we've had for president. Not a single one of them has come in with no political ties whatsoever and really deep pockets. They're all funded by somebody. They all got their hand out. First off, we need to change basically our whole entire government system and the way we do things. I think we're in this digital age. Congress is pretty much useless.
What do you mean? You don't need people to write laws?
Well, I think the people need to vote on the laws.
That's kind of crazy.
The actual people.
That's kind of crazy. Oh, I don't know why he got timed out. That's weird. We'll let him back in if he circles back around. I don't know what happened. I didn't kick him off or anything. It just got him out. I don't know why. What's going on? Fitfo. F-I-T-F-O. So I get what he was, I think that you should also use cryptocurrencies in conjunction with physical cash. I think that it would just be more harmful to go completely cashless. It wouldn't benefit anybody. Fitfo, if you want to come back in, hop in the queue again. Don't know what happened. Connection issues, something like that. But very strange. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, so you want people people will vote on the laws, but people are they going to write the laws?
Well, I think that we already have state representatives for each individual state. However, our state representatives, in most cases, don't even actually do their job.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how many times that I've kind of gone up against my own state governor, and it's just like, what's the point? They don't do anything. They just do whatever the fuck they want. Sorry.
No, you're good. It's all good. It's all good. So I guess that's not really addressing the problem, though. So if the state representatives are corrupt, but then you do away. So are you saying to do away with state houses, or just do away with the federal houses and just leave it up to the states and their representatives to write the laws? What are you getting at here?
Well, I think our federal government should be more of the federal to govern the states, not govern the people.
That doesn't make any sense.
Wants to write their own laws, which is fine. But unfortunately, we have people in pretty much all of our states that pretty much walk around and do what the hell they want.
Yeah, so, I mean, it sounds like what you're proposing is the dissolution of the United States into multiple countries in what used to be the United States.
Kind of a newer version, yes.
We tried that, and it failed. It's called the Articles of Confederation.
Unfortunately, our federalization has gotten so, how should I put it, skewed.
Yes, but that's with any government, though. Any government will eventually become corrupt over time, and it's not really the government that's corrupt. It's the morality of the people that are in the institutions that become corrupt. Because the institutions are just tools. And I think they're tools for improvement, and I think they're tools for good, but they can be misused.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately,
for whatever reason, it keeps kicking you out. I'm not sure why it keeps kicking you out. I'm not kicking you out. I'm enjoying your conversation. TikTok doesn't want us to enjoy your conversation. They are misused every day. Hey, Lucas, I know about the Articles of Confederation. I know about what took place in the United States before the, Constitution was in place, before the checks and balances of the United States was implemented. Literally, citizens were going from state to state to avoid paying debts because they could, because states were essentially different countries. Then the blue states can keep all their tax dollars. Yeah, tell the president to stop sending money to. I agree with you. I think we should stop sending money to Ukraine. That's silly. I'm not a big fan of Biden at all. But he has done a couple right things. Even if it's not him, right? We can always say that it's not him. He has too much dementia to really know what's going on. I'd agree with that. But the administration has done some good things. But if the government wants to spend our money, that's a good thing. Before the states were op. All right. So we're going to try this again. Hopefully he doesn't get kicked out. I don't know why he keeps getting booted from the live. It's kind of annoying.
I don't know why I'm getting kicked because I've got full bars of service here.
Yeah, I mean, it could be on my end, but I'm showing my Wi-Fi is full as well, so I'm not sure. But yeah, we were talking. Go ahead.
I kind of see things from both sides. We kind of do need taxes a little bit to pay for certain things. It's kind of like a fishing license. Okay? If everybody has the right to go out and fish, well, that's totally fine. The problem is if you're not, if everybody, let's say you have a pond with 100,000 fish in it, and then you have 100,000 people that go pull one fish out of that pond in 1 year.
Right.
Then you have no more fish. If nobody buys a license, then there's no money for the hatchery to restock the fish. The whole entire ecosystem dies.
Right.
Homeostasis is lost.
Or what happens is, what would eventually happen if you play that out to its logical conclusion, many people would eventually end up starving because, well, there wouldn't be enough food for everybody. So go back to the most resourceful and strongest surviving. So nature would balance itself out.
Absolutely. See, myself, my whole goal in life was to make $10,000 a month.
Right
That's
on.
it. $10,000 a month, I figure I can buy and have whatever I want. Anything over the top, I was going to use to help other people achieve their goals. Unfortunately, I've actually come from a towing background. That's my life. I'm into cars. I'm not a political party by any means.
So why are you running? Why are you running for office? What are you going to do in the state of Oregon? You said Oregon, right?
Yes.
What are you going to do in the state of Oregon to try and make it better? What are some of the things that you see? So we're talking about, some high-level issues, but what are some of the issues that you want to address as a state representative if you were elected by your people?
Well, first off, there's corruption in all of our cities, our county government, everywhere. I'm just trying to get everybody held more accountable to keep the honest people honest.
So how are you going to do that?
Okay. Well, first off, as we, progress forward, cash is an easy thing to skim money right off the top. Okay? I can, in my little town that I live in, I can tell you that
All right, this is annoying. For whatever reason, people keep getting kicked out of the box. So we're just going to be done with letting people up. That really sucks because he seemed like a good guy, had some things that he wanted to offer. But it is what it is. Let's go up a little bit. Vote red or we're all dead. I wouldn't just blindly vote red. I think Republicans are a lot better than Democrats. Once again, guys, I'm for I'm for monarchies. I'm for the joining of church and state. I'm for law and order all the way. But Democrats are no better than Republicans. They actually just make the insanity of the left palatable over time. That's what they do. I mean, look at their stance on gay marriage. It used to be very hard. No. Democrats then said yes. Bob Smith, okay. Pulling out of Iraq, student loan debt. That's about it. That's the only two things I can think of. Democrats on that whole marriage issue, they were like, no first, and then they said yes first. And the Republicans were like, we're going to say no until it becomes socially acceptable because the Democrats are pushing the meter to then make it for the Republicans to join on to the idea of passing, the whole thing, the GAY marriage. People should be forced to pay off what they agreed to. Very boomer answer, Bob. I got a question. Is the Democrats and the government broke? What do you mean broke? Is the Democrats and the government broke? What do you mean? Broke like financially? No, not at all. Are you talking? Maybe some of them struggle. I know a lot of, representatives and senators who have to sleep in their office to save money because they have to have 2 residencies. But what do you mean by broke? Like their moral compass is broke? Yes. I don't know what you mean. What about the 13 soldiers that died and they wouldn't even say their names? Yeah, it's unfortunate. But what, you want to have more people keep dying and dying? No, you don't. Was it executed as good as it could have been? No. Was it needed to be done? Yes. Did it get done? Yes. Like, are they living the same lives as the Democrats in daily life? So you're asking, are political Democrats in the House of Representatives and Senate living the same life as their supporters? Depends. There's a lot of wealthy Democrats. So no, they're not living the same life. It's kind of a silly question, too, to begin with, right? Because nobody lives the same life as anybody else. This would have been done in steps. It should have been done. Yeah, I literally said that it was executed wrong. I didn't say I agreed with the execution. Do I know how the execution should have been done? No. Was it as good as it could have been? Probably not. Did it have to be done? I would say yes. They talk about climate change and fly around. I agree with you. Yeah, it's insane. Liberalism is a spectrum disorder. Stop engaging with them. Ignore and move on. I agree. I think liberalism is evil. I think it's actually satanic. I'm not for liberalism at all. And I like the way you phrase that. It's silly, I know. So that's where they can't claim they're for the people. That makes no sense because they're not like them. They can't, because they're not exactly the same as them. They can't say they're for the people. So unless society functions like bees, they can't say they're like the people. They're for the people, rather. That literally makes no sense. I'm for my family, but I'm not the same as my family. My wife and I are distinctly different. My children and I are different. But I'm for my family. Politics is evil. I don't know that politics are evil. I think that they're easily corrupted, but they're needed for government, I believe. And I wouldn't say that governments are evil, but do you ever go against your family? No. But that doesn't mean what you just basically said. The way you said it was they're not the same as their voters. Therefore, they're not for the people. Yeah, I know you're back. It's just too much. You keep getting kicked out. And I don't know why. I'm not kicking you out. It just keeps kicking you out. Why didn't they go after the left that was telling people to go to the streets? I agree with you. I'm against revolutions. I'm against rebellions. I'm not for that. I think that revolutions are evil. I think that wars can be justified, but typically they are in my opinion, satanic ritual. But all right, guys, I'm actually going to end this one right now, putting an interpretation from a figurehead, one before all the others would be the religion. That's what it is right now. Anyway, so much love, guys. I hope you guys have a good day. Subscribe to Everything MOT Media. So Facebook, MOT Media, YouTube, MOT Media, everything. All right, much love. Peace.